In this lesson, I'm going to demonstrate and talk about Python expressions and operators. So what are expressions? Essentially, expressions represent something, for example, like a number, a string, or an instance of a class. And any value can be an expression. So for instance, you may have something within the parentheses, or if you're trying to evaluate 2 plus 4, and that would be an expression. Anything that does something is a statement, on the other hand. So for instance, if you assign a variable to a statement, for instance, let x equals 2, so in that instance, that would be a statement. So it's not an expression, it's a statement. And we have been doing this in the previous lessons where we have assigned or created an assignment statement. So any assignment to a variable or function call is a statement. Any value contained in that statement, however, is an expression, right? So for instance, if the variable is x equals 2 plus 4, then that 2 plus 4 would be an expression, and the entire line of code would be a statement. So just quickly, I wanted to talk about the Python expressions, and then next I'll demonstrate and talk about the operators as well. But before I talk about operators, let's take a look at this example. So in this example, it's a statement called howdy equals hello, which is a statement that assigns howdy to the value of the expression hello. So the word hello in quotes is an expression, and howdy equals hello is a statement. Since the code hello is a simple expression, meaning it contains no operations, nothing is actually evaluated. So howdy is just assigned to hello. On the other hand, let me next demonstrate. For example, if I say something like y equals 2 plus 4, something like that. Okay, so this part would be an expression, the entire line of code would be a statement. So just to give you an idea of the difference between the statement and the expression in Python. Operators are the constructs which can manipulate the value of operands. So for example, if I were to say something like 4 plus 9, and hit the enter key, the answer is 13. So this is going to evaluate. So this is in fact evaluating the contract 4 plus 9. So here once again, 4 and 5 are called the operands, or 4 and 9 in this example are the operands, and the plus sign in between is called the operator. And this could be plus, minus sign is an operator, divide, and so on. So Python language supports many kinds of operators. Some of the basic ones that I'm going to cover in this course are arithmetic, comparison, and assignment operators. The other ones are, for instance, bitwise operators, which I'll discuss in my subsequent courses. But for basic Python language, these three are pretty common when you're typing code or writing a program. So arithmetic operators, comparison or relational operators, and then our assignment operators. So next, let's take a look at each one of these in details, and I'll also demonstrate some examples as well. Here are some of the basic arithmetic operators. So for instance, you can do the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, which is represented by a percent sign, exponent, and then our 2 forward slashes, which is called the floor division. And these are different types of arithmetic operations. In fact, the basic one I demonstrated earlier by saying 4 plus 9, which is 13. Similarly, I can do 5 plus 6. I need to have my plus sign here. 5 plus 6 is 11. Similarly, I can do subtraction. I can do something like 12 minus 4. Pretty basic, straightforward stuff. Now, multiplication is also the same way. I can multiply 7 times 7, which is 49. I can also divide. So I can say something like 10 divided by 2 is 5. With the modulus, I need to use a percent sign. And what modulus is simply, it shows you the remainder, right? So if you're dividing something like 3 divided by 2, for example, the remainder would be 1. But in this instance, since we're using Python 3.5 version, you will get a floating number. This number is also known as a float number. In other words, it has certain decimals to it, so it's not a whole number. So this will be the exact answer to 3 divided by 2. But if you were to use Python 2.7 version or earlier versions of Python program, then it would show you the remainder. Let me in fact demonstrate another example. Let's do 9 divided by 4. It's 2.25. Okay. So this is a simple division which we're doing, which is right here. Divides the left-hand operands. Now what about modulus here? Okay. I need to know the remainder. So if I need to do 9 divided by, instead of division, I'm going to use percent sign this time because I'd like to find the remainder of 9 divided by 4. So hit the enter key and notice it's 1 because 4 only goes one time in 4, so 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and the remainder is 1. Okay, so straightforward. So when you use the percent sign in Python, this operator is used for remainders. Exponents, which is to the power of, for instance. So if I need to say 2 to the power of 5, this would be 32, which means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 and times 2. So it's 5 times 2 is 32. And this is represented by the operator called 2 asterisks, right? Or 2 stars. And floor division is the same way. For instance, if I need to do 9, use my 2 slashes divided by 2 will give me 4. So the division of operands where the result is the quotient in which the digits after the decimal points are removed. So it's 4 in this instance. So pretty straightforward, the arithmetic operators. A couple of new ones that you may not be comfortable with, such as the 2 asterisk for exponents, and then the 2 slashes for floor division, and then the percent sign for the modulus. But the other ones like plus, minus, multiply, and divide are straightforward. Okay, let's take a look at the comparison operators. In this instance, the first operator is the 2 equal signs. So if the 2 values of the 2 operands are equal, then the conditions become true. For instance, if I were to say something like 2 is equal to 2, which is true. So Python returns the value as true. If I say something, on the other hand, like 3 equals 3, which is also true. But in this next example, if I say 44 equals 54, and notice in this instance, Python returns the value as false. So likewise, the exclamation mark, equal sign, if values of 2 operands are not equal, then the condition becomes true. Similarly, if values of 2 operands are not equal, then the condition becomes true, which is represented by the operator greater than and less than sign, which is similar to the exclamation mark equal sign operator. Then of course we have our greater than sign, less than, greater than or equal to, or for instance the last operator is less than or equal to. If the value of the left operand is less than or equal to the value of the right operand, then the condition becomes true. So we can use any of these operators or comparison operators in Python when you're evaluating expressions. So for instance, if I say 2 is greater than 4, it's going to say false. If I say 5 is less than 1, it's going to say false. Likewise, I can continue and say 8 is greater than 9. This is also going to say false because 8 is less than 9. So you get the idea. So this way we can work with comparison operators as well. And the last ones are the assignment operators. Here, for example, is just an equal sign. And this simply assigns the value from right side to the left side. And notice this equal sign does not mean that the two sides are equal. In Python, if you want to make two sides equal, then we use the double equal signs. If I were to use something like x equals 2, this is an assignment statement. So you're assigning variable x as the value of 2. And if I hit enter and assign y equals 4, and all I'm doing here is assigning the variables x the value of 2 and the variable y the value of 4. So if I say x plus y, and notice I'll get the value 6 because Python knows that the value of x is now 2 and the value of y is 4. So when I add these two variables, I'll get the answer 6, which is different from the two equal signs. So keep that in mind when you're working with different operators in Python. A single equal sign is essentially an assignment statement. Same thing, plus sign equal sign, minus equal sign, multiplication equal sign, and then the division equal sign and our modulus. So each of these operators will allow us to evaluate expressions and write our code accordingly depending upon our own requirements. Practice with these expressions and operators, and we understand the concept as well as the differences between assignment statements, expressions, and operators. And let's move to our next lesson.